Welcome to episode 102 of the Fitness Simplified podcast. I'm your host, Kim Schlag. On today's episode, I'm joined by an incredible woman. She is an engineer. She is a podcaster. She is a former client of mine. Her name is Vema. Now, Vema made a really dramatic transformation over the past 15 months as we worked together, lost a lot of weight, gained a lot of strength, built a lot of muscle, built a lot of confidence in the gym. She messaged me recently and said, I know objectively that I've made this great progress, but sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm just like, hello, me from 15 months ago. Does this happen to you? If so, and it bothers you, what can you do about it? And what's that all about? Let's talk about it. Let's go. Vema, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I am well, and I am really just tickled pink about your kitty cat headphones.
Yeah, so I do podcasting too every once in a while, and these are the best. I try to use my fancy, super dancy Bluetooth speakers. It did not work.
It didn't work.
Low tech is the best tech.
I could not agree more. But my main question is this: are you wearing pants?
No. Yes, not hard pants.
Okay, good. No hard pants.
I totally have like workout pants on.
Me too. 100%. So here's how I'd like to start, Vema. I would love for you to introduce us to you, who you are as a person, like outside of fitness. Kind of tell us who you are, what you do, what you like, all that kind of stuff, what you do for fun. And then we'll talk about your fitness journey, and then we'll hit the questions you have for me.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Let's go. Tell us about you.
All right. So my name is Vema. I use she, her pronouns. I am a computer and systems engineer by day. And by night, I sit on the board of directors of a local nonprofit called the CSPH. Other than that, I love going camping. I just got a dog. I do a lot of like outdoor summer activities. And in the winter, I become a little bear and don't leave the house because I don't like to be cold.
So you're coming out of hibernation now.
Yes.
Fantastic. Now tell everyone about your fitness journey. Where did you start? Where are you at now? And tell us some of what has happened in between. I know because I've been there for it, but no one else does.
So let's see, how far, like, do you want me to start when we started working together or before?
Or how you were feeling before then, or just kind of where you were, like, were you a lifelong athlete? Like, how did you feel about your body? All that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. So I should have mentioned I'm 36 years old for people that care. So I've always been a yo-yo dieter. And my weight always fluctuated up and down a lot. I was a very sedentary person all the way to about 8 years ago when I started doing like outdoor activities. But before that, all my interests were like computer related. So it was always sitting down. And I didn't know what to do about exercise. I tried running. Turns out I hate it. I tried going to the gym, but other people in the gym intimidated me. So I stopped that. I tried doing yoga. I still like it in terms of the movement and the stretching and all that. But that got expensive real quick. And then at some point during 2019, I had a talk with my doctor. I was at the highest weight I've ever been, which was around 210 or so. And I'm 5'2" on a good day. So that is a significant weight. Yeah. And I was having a lot of trouble with my back, with my knees. So my doctor said, you need to get on it or it'll get on you. So that's when I had been following you on Instagram for a while. You and the whole crew, like Jordan, Syed, and Susan. So after having that talk with my doctor, I decided, okay, it's time to take the plunge. And we started working together at the end of 2019. I think it was October, maybe November, around that time. I didn't want to wait until like make it a New Year's resolution because those never, in my opinion, and in my case, they never work. So I wanted to start in like before the holidays so I could manage the holidays. And if I could get through the holidays, I can do it. And that was my thought process. And we worked together since November 2019 to last month was my last month with you.
Yeah. It's really only been like since last week.
Yeah, exactly.
And tell everybody, okay, so I do remember when you first started with me, you were very intimidated by the idea of exercise. You felt very uncomfortable with the exercise. You were very game to try whatever I gave you. But did not come naturally to you. You know, each exercise, you had to really work to master every single movement pattern that we worked through. How did that go in your mind? Tell me about like, how did you feel about that? And and tell people where you are with lifting now.
Yeah. Before my injury, and we'll get to that at some point, my PR on deadlifts was 100 pounds, which was amazing. We did about 3 or 4 months. I went back on our documents. We spent about 3 or 4 months where it was only body weight, and it was doing hip hinges and mimicking the movement, but standing up or doing wall push-ups. And I can do 5 push-ups from the floor too. That's
exactly
a big one.
She couldn't do any push-ups. We were working on wall push-ups. She really struggled both with her strength and just with like where her body was in space. And now she busts out push-ups. She's working on pull-ups. She has incredible form with her deadlifts and squats and all the things. Like you've just come amazingly far. What was it that helped you to push through this initial period of like, this is really hard for me?
I think when we started working together, you met me where I was without judging. And that was very important. When I told you I can't touch my toes, so I can't do whatever movement it was. And you're like, okay, well, do it until whatever is accessible for you, and we will work from there. You can't do push-ups from the floor or from the table, do them on the wall. And giving me those step-by-step baby steps by steps helped me realize I can get better, because I could see progress month by month, because I wasn't trying to do too much at once. I wasn't trying to go from not working out to trying to lift 40, 50 pounds. I remember the first time I touched the barbell was almost 6 months into our adventure together. Before that, I couldn't lift 45 pounds. So I couldn't touch the barbell. And that took a long time.
Yeah, it did. And you were super patient with yourself. And I was really impressed by that. So you're really strong now, amazing form. Tell everybody about the physical progress you've made as far as like your weight and clothes and all of that.
So in terms of weight, I lost about 37 to 35 pounds, depending on what day you're counting. Like you've always said, your weight will fluctuate. You don't have a magical number. I'm ranging between 160 and 157 on a very hungry day. So that's about 37-ish pounds. In terms of inches, we did the math. It was like 12 inches overall, or maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, it was more. It was more.
Yeah. I went from being a size 1X, pushing it to 2X. Like all my clothes were 1X or 14, 16, but they were tight. And we went from that to now I wear size 10 on pants. I can fit on an 8, but they're uncomfortable.
And nobody needs that.
Exactly. On anything that is stretchy, I can wear a medium. And all my clothes are stretchy, so everything is medium now.
That's a huge difference from 1X to 2X to a medium.
Oh yeah, it is. And it's unrecognizable. Like I look at myself, hair notwithstanding, because I did have a big hair change too.
Yes.
I used to have, for anyone that's looking, I used to have hair to my shoulders, and now I have like nothing. On purpose. But I look at myself in the mirror and I can't recognize who I'm looking at. And I still don't know my own size now. And I feel great. So it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just when I look at the mirror, I'm sorry for that. When I look at the mirror, oh, it was Jordan Sayed. The week, the month, the daily exercise one. I get those now. I haven't done a single one, but I get them all the time. Anyway, when I look at myself in the mirror, And when I look at myself in clothes and whatnot, I can't recognize myself. I look at myself and I'm like, I don't see the change when I look down, which is the only way I can look at myself.
Yeah.
But when I look at myself in the mirror, I don't recognize the person that is looking back at me because
And that was one of your questions for me today, because what you said is sometimes you still feel like the same person
yeah, and
37 pounds ago. And how do you get past that?
how do you get past that body dysmorphia where what you see in the mirror is not what you see in your head? And
because you were that person for a long time.
right.
Yeah. It's a really, really good question. Let me ask you this. What evidence do you have that you have changed? Like, what's the evidence? What does the evidence say?
Physical
Any kind of evidence that you're still not that same person?
Between the stamina and the endurance that I have now, where I can keep up with folks and my dog. I used to get winded just going up a flight of stairs. My knees are not bothering me anymore. When I go shopping, everything I buy clothes related, I usually have to go back for a smaller size because I keep grabbing the bigger sizes. And one big one is that I can see my clavicle.
That is different, right? That is different.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you recognize that. That's fantastic. Big motorcycle going by my house.
Yeah, normal. You'll hear the airplanes. I live next to the airport, so you'll hear the airplanes at some point. But that's one of them. I remember the first time I saw my clavicle, I ran to my partner and went like, oh, look at this. And then it's like, touch it. You can feel it. And it's a weird feeling. It's a good, weird feeling because I've always subscribed to body neutrality as opposed to body positivity, where my body is my tool for me to navigate the world. So I try not to attach a lot of sentiment to my own looks. However, that's not always the case. And that's not something that I do all the time. Obviously, I like to get all pretty up and everything. So obviously, I have some sort of positive feeling towards my body, but I try to see my body in a more neutral sense. So seeing all these changes and going like, I'm so happy feels weird because I spent so much time trying not to hate my body. And now it's like, but I love it. And it's a weird feeling of going like, all my effort was going towards not hating it. And now it's like, I love it.
Look, I'm a huge fan of the idea of body neutrality. I think it's a wonderful place for people to strive for when they are at that point where they just don't like what they see in the mirror. They don't like what they look when they look down. Getting to a place where you can just accept, this is what my body looks like today. This is what my body looks like in workout clothes. This is what my body looks like in the morning. This is what my body looks like naked. This is what my body looks like in a bathing suit. Like just getting to that place of this is what I look like. These are my legs today. And that's a big leap for a lot of people because their go-to is, I hate my legs, like before they can even think of something neutral. And so just walking to that place of neutrality, that takes a lot of effort. And it sounds like you had really gotten to a good spot like that you were not actively hating your body. And I'm wondering if some part of that is like still this like protective mechanism that it's making it hard for you to now celebrate what you really do like about your body. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you hit it in the head. It's so much time I spent 30 something years of just trying to be gentle with myself in terms of like, yes, I'm overweight or I'm obese, but this is the body that got me where I am. This is the body that got me to meet my partner and have so many adventures with him. I have to be grateful for the body that I have and the body that I had. And now I try to see it the same way, but I guess the change that needs to happen is that I can celebrate the achievements that I did over a year and a half of intense training and counting calories and trying different proteins until I found one that didn't taste like chalk.
Yeah. You had a lot of work there. What will it take for you to give yourself permission to celebrate all of that?
I think time.
Yeah.
I think I've been where I am right now for a short period of time. Um, in terms of like the weight that I am right now and the size that I am right now is so shorter than the whole. I have to go through the whole 35 pounds, losing them one by one.
Yeah.
So where I am right now, it's not that long time that's passed. So that time of like seeing what my body can do now, especially now that we're in the summer and I can like take myself kayaking or jump on the bikes and not have my knees bother me so much.
Yeah.
And kind of testing all those things and knowing where I am, that's going to help a lot. And that's going to help my self-esteem in terms of like my physical ability more than like my physical appearance.
Yeah. And I think with all of that, both with your ability piece and with the appearance piece, continuing practicing talking to yourself in this kind of positive way, and eventually you'll be able to hear your own voice. So, noting things like, hey, I really like the way my clavicle looks in this like V-neck shirt. Like, I like the way that looks. Like, yay, me. I like that. Or like, wow, like I like that I can get in and out of this kayak with ease. And I remember a time when I couldn't do that. And out loud saying these things, and they'll build and they'll build. I like the way my body looks in shorts right now. Like, go me. Like, I look friggin' fantastic. Think about it the way you would talk to a friend about these things. Like, if your friend comes in and she's just glowing and looking amazing, like you would say, like, you're glowing and looking amazing. Like, talk that way to yourself about the changes you see and about the evidence you see that physically you're a different person, mentally you're a different person. You've become so much stronger as a result of physically getting stronger. Really talk those things through with yourself out loud and give yourself permission to celebrate that. You've worked really hard for that. And it doesn't take away from the fact it doesn't mean that you hated yourself before to be super excited about yourself now, right? And there might be some bit of that. Like, if I'm too excited about how awesome I look now, maybe it's saying like me before wasn't good enough. And that's not the case, but you've worked really hard to get here. And I hope you're proud of yourself.
I am definitely proud of myself, and it's a weird feeling to be proud of myself that way. To be honest, it's I can do things that I couldn't do before. I can lift 100 pounds off the ground when I'm not hurting.
Yeah, and she does it more than once. She's doing it for reps. And you're going to go so much further with that, with your lifting and we'll talk in a minute about this injury you sustained, and we can kind of chat up that part of this discussion as well. But you've just done an incredible, incredible job, and you deserve every bit of the success you have. So tell us about this experience you're having with injury, and let's kind of talk about that. I think a lot of people get stuck when they're like, what the heck do I do now? I'm injured.
Yeah, it was definitely scary. So a couple months ago, I think 2 months ago now, during deadlifts, I think it was, I don't remember now, I hurt my back. And at the beginning, I thought it was like I hurt the actual vertebrae back. So I stopped working out, which is what you need to do, and booked an appointment with my doctor. The doctor couldn't figure out what it was, but I got x-rays. It was not the spine, thank goodness. It turns out I had damaged the gluteus medius. Is that the name? I always forget the name. The middle of the butt, pretty much. We finally figure out I had to go to physical therapy, and we figure out that because my knees were caving in when I was doing lifting, it hyperextended that muscle, the gluteus medius, and it didn't tear it, but it definitely hurt it. Yeah. And it took me, I went to physical therapy for 2 months, but that meant 2 months of where I couldn't lift anything. I wasn't, per doctor's instruction, I wasn't allowed to like do heavy lifting or even light lifting. Other than bringing in groceries, that was like the heaviest I could do. And I couldn't do all the bags at once, like everybody loves to do. But it was scary. It just reminded me that you can never get lats in your form. And you need to watch out for not only like your neutral spine and bracing your stomach, which I was doing. It was something as simple as one of my knees just coming in and just pulling on that muscle so hard that it just bruised my muscle.
And how are you bouncing back from this now? What are you doing about this? 2 months you haven't been doing much lifting.
2 months that I haven't done much lifting. I just got back into it last week. I got my discharge finally from my PT last week. And before the 2 weeks before I got my discharge, I was doing the lifting in her office.
Mm-hmm.
So there's equipment there, and we will do deadlifts very light, like I was doing 25 pounds of deadlifts in her office under her direct supervision. So we could pinpoint how did I hurt this muscle, because it's a weird muscle to hurt, until we noticed that my knees were coming in. Pro tip, put a band around your thighs so that doesn't happen. I should have known that. But now I got my discharge last week, 2 weeks ago, and then last week I could start lifting again. But I started slow with 25, 30 pounds. I have the weird dumbbells that have weird sizes because they're adjustable. So I don't know the exact math. But very, very lightweight, just to get almost like doing a hip hinge and nothing else, just to get back, grease all the grooves before I can get back to it. And then this upcoming week, I can start like pushing myself again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything's fresh.
And so how do you feel about coming back to it? Are you excited about it? Are you nervous about it?
I'm nervous, to be honest. I was so scared of getting hurt, of doing the same thing again, because it hurt. It hurt badly. So going back, I was a little bit scared. I am a little bit scared, but it's not the kind of scared that you're frozen by. It's the kind of scared that you're hyper vigilant of like going through all the motions very methodically and very slowly to make sure that you're doing everything correctly.
Yeah. It's very rare that a PT comes back and says, like, I don't want you to lift at all. It was a little bit of an unusual experience that Vema was having here. She was having pain in her back. Most people, the general rule of thumb is you do what you can tolerate. And for most people, you can find something to do. So work around it as best you can. And Vema did work around it. You would still do some walking and, you know, that kind of physical activity. So you find what you can do and you work there. And now that you're coming back to it, my best piece of advice for you, and it's hard. One of the times when you're most likely to get injured is when you're worried about getting injured. And so you have to put that thought out of your head. Practice good form, be vigilant about your form. But if you are really nervous about getting hurt, we tend to tense up and move awkwardly, and then you're more likely to get hurt. And so it's going to be a psychological exercise of reminding yourself, like, I can be confident in my movement. I've been lifting for a while. It was kind of this freak thing. I got hurt and my PT has helped me through this. I'm in just the right spot. I'm doing the things I'm supposed to do. You know, I started light, and have that confidence in yourself so that you can lift safely moving forward.
Right. And the other thing that I was told that I need to do better is warm-ups.
Warm-ups are super important.
Yeah, real warm-ups. Beyond just stretching is really good, but actual warming up is another one that really will
super
help.
Tempting to skip. Everybody's just excited to get it a lift, or their timing is we only have so much time and we're like, I'm fine. But yeah, getting a dedicated warm up so that your muscles are warm and your joints are lubricated. And then when you're doing heavy lifting, of course, doing warm up sets so that you're ready to lift that heavy weight. So if you're doing a heavy deadlift or you're doing a heavy bench press, doing some warm up sets. So fantastic. They're going to be more vigilant about your warm up sets.
Yeah.
Tell us, what are your goals coming up for in the gym? Like, what are your big goals for, let's say, the next 6 months to a year? What would you like to accomplish?
Besides getting back to where I was before I hurt myself, that's like priority number one. Priority number two is I want to keep working on my chin-ups. So just before you and I stopped working together, we started building a program to help me do chin-ups. And I have all the equipment, the bands, the whole shebang. I just want to do it for no reason. I have no particular reason other than I want to say I can do chin-ups.
Yeah. It feels cool. You feel strong when you can move your body in that way. It's a powerful thing. Well, I have zero doubt in my mind that you will get there. Please send me a video when you do. Tag me on your Instagram stories, and we will let everybody see that, because I think it's really inspiring when anybody, but particularly when women, we're not often in general society touted as like, hey, look what she can do strength wise, right? It's getting out
Right.
there. And I'm certainly a proponent of talking about women in that way. And so I really like to show other women, look what she can do. And she did it because she set her mind to it and practiced, not because, it came easy to her or she's like a natural born athlete, but because she worked really friggin' hard. So I'll be happy to share that with the world when that day comes.
Yeah, I'm also the proponent of like, don't tell me that I can't do it because I'm a woman, because I'll try to figure out how to do it. That's how I ended up being a computer engineer, in case you didn't know.
That's right. That's right.
I had a family member tell me when I was in high school that I couldn't be a computer engineer because that was work for men. And I said to that person, watch me. And then decided on my career right then and there, because
And here
that
you
person
are.
told me no.
And here you are, a computer engineer who can do push-ups and is going to be knocking out pull-ups soon.
Yep, that's the plan. But it's been quite a rocky road, I think, between trying to learn movement from zero. I mean, if I could be the testament of like, anyone can do this, no matter how much you know about fitness, it's me, because my notion of fitness was zero. And I went from complete zero, not understanding what even form meant. Like the first time you told me you need to have good form, and I'm like, good what? Can you tell me what that is? Because I don't know what you mean.
And we broke it down for every single exercise, and she was so good. You were so good about sending me videos of like every single, you would send me a video of every one set of every exercise you did at first. And we're very good about receiving feedback. If I would say, all right, now we're going to work on putting your hips in this position, you would do that. And then you would nail that. And I'd be like, all right, now we're going to work on, where your arms are, or whatever it was. And you were very patient with taking that in and making the changes. And I'm super, super proud of how far you have come.
Yeah, definitely having the videos. I still have them in case I ever need to remember what I was doing.
Yeah, where you came from.
Yep. I mean, you put up with me working out in pajamas and sending you pajama videos. So there's that.
I have a lot of video footage of you lifting in your pajamas. Yes, I sure do. Vema, thank you so much for joining us here today. And it's an inspiring story. And I'm super excited to see where you go from here.
Well, going up.
Going up. Thanks so much, my dear.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Fitness Simplified podcast. I hope you found it educational, motivational, inspirational, all kinds of ational. If you did enjoy this episode, if you found value in it, I would love it. It would mean the world to me if you left a rating and review wherever you are listening to this podcast. That really does help it get in front of more people. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel and give it a like. Again, this stuff really does matter. It helps for my stuff to get in front of more people and help more people. Thanks so much for being here. I will see you next time.